I needed to be somewhere where I didn't have people telling me how I should live my life.
Robert Long wanted to get away, and he went as far as he could.
I wanted to be somewhere where it was all wilderness.
Where there was nothing to connect him to the modern world.
Where there was no roads between the sea and the mountains.
A river and a hut miles away from anything, anyone.
It's like you crave human company.
So how long can it be between visitors?
It can be months.
And Robert Long chose this life not only for himself, but for his family.
For 16 years, the Longs have lived here in almost total isolation, surrounded by the sea, the mountains, and the sandflies. The nearest road is 50 kilometres away. To get in and out, it's a long trek, 2 days walk this way, or 7 days to the south.
I've made it a little bit more cosier.
Step inside the hut that Robert Long has called home, and you can't help but wonder why.
And probably a few more screens to keep the sandflies out. This is my workshop area here.
In another life, he once made headlines as a high achiever. His life mapped out to become a doctor.
That was already set in concrete. All I had to do was pass my exams.
Did you pass?
Yeah.
Robert's wife, Catherine, a former microbiologist, now relies on an oil drum to cook for her family.
Do you know what temperature that's at?
No, it's just go or stop.
There's no fridge. The nearest superette, a 2-day tramp to Haast.
How do you get your food?
We have an aeroplane come once a month. The rest of it comes from the garden and from the river.
What about luxury items for the kids?
We like a bottle of milk.
A bottle of milk is a luxury?
Yep. We have powdered milk, but a bottle of milk is still nice.
Here's the outside world here on the radio. I listen to the national radio.
And an emergency radio.
Except it doesn't work.
No, about a month ago it stopped working.
Officially, it's a Department of Conservation hut, but a handshake deal 3 decades ago has allowed him to stay there as caretaker for free.
This is our place to live. But I don't claim that it's my hut. It's still a public hut, as far as I'm concerned.
When television cameras last dropped in 13 years ago, Robert and Catherine had just married and were starting a family. Kristen, then 3, and baby Robin.
And did you have any reservations at all about bringing a little baby back in here?
No.
We're looking forward to getting her home.
2 blue-eyed bush babes. They'd be raised here without television, computers, schools and cars, just each other for playmates.
We've grown up on boulders, so we're very good at walking on boulders.
Kristen is now a young man, 16 and 6'1", with skills that would leave most teenagers literally for dead.
I could probably survive in the bush by myself with no food, no anything.
For how long?
Not forever. I think if you had some matches, that would really help. If you had matches, I think you'd be able to get a fire going anywhere and you'd be able to survive. The sacks to keep the flies off.
At an age when most kids are hanging out with mates,
They've been hanging overnight, so they've cooled down.
Kristen is hanging out with possums.
Sometimes you get a real smart possum. It dodges all the traps.
He'll eat possum if he has to,
It's good if you've got nothing else.
and he's very quick skinning them.
We'll say that was 1:15, which is not a bad time.
Okay.
What does he miss? He hardly knows what there is to miss.
The isolation can be very hard. Other people my own age, you see very few other people out here my own age.
Few, if any, the odd deer hunter drifts through. And occasionally, very occasionally, there's the sound of a chopper.
It's always exciting. If you haven't seen anyone for ages, you're always hanging out to see someone.
Does it matter who it is?
No. Anyone's fine, yeah.
The baby girl who was brought to the bush when she was just a few weeks old is now 13 and has a pet chook. Chookie.
We got her from some friends in our town. She was just a little fluff ball.
Is she your closest friend?
Kind of, yeah.
For her 13th birthday, forget iPods and cell phones, her only present was a greenstone dolphin carved by her father.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Anything else?
There's all sorts of things I want, but some of them are pretty impractical.
What sort of things?
Trampoline.
So mothers, tell your children not to do as I've done.
Auckland-born Robert Long, Beansprout as he's known in the district, opted for all this when he was just 24. An outstanding student at an elite boys' school in Brisbane, a prefect, an army cadet, a state champion athlete. He got 3 years into a medical degree when, in an instant, he threw it all in.
What were your parents' expectations of you?
They expected me to be successful as a doctor, so they were deeply disappointed.
On a very different coastline, 2,500 kilometres across the sea, we found 81-year-old Robert Long Sr. in Mooloolaba, Queensland, Robert's dad.
What was your proudest moment?
Well, I think the proudest moment, if there is such a thing, was in his final year at school when he was presented with the trophies that he had won during the year, and the whole school stood up and cheered him. And he was the only one that had that acclamation out of all of those that were presented. They were all acclaimed. But he
New Zealander Bob Long brought his family to Australia in the 60s and, having prospered from property and oil, retired at just 47, now living the life his son might have had if he'd finished medical school.
He had disappointed me, and I was angry with him. I felt what I'd done for my part was the duty of a father, and it was the duty of a son to take advantage of the opportunities. And when he didn't do so, I felt that the contract had been broken by him. And I was disappointed, yes.
Did you push him hard to be a doctor?
I think this is one of the problems, that between sport and education, etc., I think he took on too much, and I think that was the reason that he finally folded up.
For years, they were estranged, father and son. One thriving in the modern world, one rejecting it. Robert Jr. says something just clicked for him 28 years ago. The idea that civilization was harming humans, destroying the planet.
But what difference are you making here?
In our own little way, we're just trying to make a little bit of a difference. And I think that's what matters. It's not what I talk about, it's not what I tell you what to do, it's what I do. And that's what matters, it's what you do as a person.
Robert tells us that his justification for living like this is that he believes civilization is ruining the planet and he needs to do his bit to try and save it.
I see. Well, I don't know how he's saving it down there, but God bless him. And I hope he keeps on trying, succeeds, because if he can save civilization, I couldn't argue with that.
Do you relate to that at all?
No, I don't think so. No, I can't see any move he's making to sort of benefit mankind. He's benefiting himself very much, but I think mankind's doing pretty well, as a matter of fact.
But Robert Jr.'s choices have meant sacrifices for his children. Growing up without conventional schooling, no internet, research the old-fashioned way. Children who, through necessity, have had to give up some of their dreams.
Your mother told us you once wanted to be a black cap.
Yeah, I used to be into sport, but it's not really possible out here, I'm afraid, so yeah.
Kristen has never played in a team. He learned the rules of rugby and cricket by listening to national radio.
So do you regret that you haven't been able to develop those skills?
No, I don't really regret it. There's other things to do, and I'm quite happy doing them. Wait here.
He wanted to be a black cap, didn't he?
He did, and he was going for it then, but now he wants something else.
And what's that? What does he want now?
He likes being here at the moment. He likes trout fishing and possum trapping.
That skin there would probably be worth $14.
What he really wants is to start a business, turning possum skins into possum pillows. And Robin also has plans.
I'd like to go to university. I'd like to be a research scientist.
Like your mum?
Yeah, I suppose.
What would you like to do research into?
I like birds and wildlife and stuff, especially birds.
I think people concentrate on what we miss out on here, but they don't realise how much we have that they don't. A lack of schedules. We don't have to get our kids to the school bus on time. We don't have to go to work to pay for them to have the house and the car and the bus fares and the clothes that they need. We work hard, but the work that we do translates straight into
Results.
It's food in your mouth. It's not paying somebody else to do it for you.
It's the only life they've known. But as bush babes become bush teens and adults, their eyes must be opening to the rest of the world.
There'll come a time, won't there, when you can actually just decide, I've had enough and I'm going to go out and do my own thing?
Yeah.
Have you reached that point yet?
Not quite yet, but if I want to, I can go away and do something by myself. Yeah. I've been out to town once from here. I went to a school camp in the Lewis Pass.
Would you like to live in a town?
Maybe. I've tried living in the bush. It'd be quite cool to try something else as well.
They are outdoing me in all sorts of areas. Knowledge, even wisdom. They seem to know more about life than I do.